It comes in many forms and hardly ever used. So I'd like to talk to you about the main ones: wind, water, and sun.
That's only 3, Maestro.
True, but they are important. There are many others, especially biomass, which comes from a range of different sources, such as wood and its byproducts. Then there's waste incineration and geothermal energy, where the principle is to harness the energy contained underground or underwater and use it for power in homes, for example. There is also biofuel, which comes from plants.
These are important too, aren't they?
Absolutely. There are also plants to produce energy from wheat, corn, beets, rapeseed, and even grape residue. Unfortunately, that won't do anything to resolve our problem with pesticides or pollution.
But Maestro, with all these crops, will there be enough land to feed people?
An excellent question, especially as we will, of course, need room to harness the wind and solar energy that I've already mentioned to you. So, you can expect some really big changes in your lifetimes. Oh, really big changes.
But why, Maestro? Is this our fault?
Yours? Certainly not, children, not yours. But humanity's prosperity has been built on the systematic devastation and draining of our planet. On top of that, there's armed conflict with the aim of controlling specific regions that hold resources, such as oil. But all that's in the past, you know. Now we're going to have to live with natural, renewable energies. We have no other choice.
So does that mean we're gonna run out of oil straight away?
No, Petra. It won't happen tomorrow or even the day after, but we have to be ready.
Who cares about oil? We could live without it, can't we?
Oh, is that what you think? Let's imagine for a moment a world without oil. We wouldn't have those curtains, the rug here, the radio, the television, the camera, that furniture, those chairs, nor even the floor covering under our feet. Of course, cars won't run anymore, which is just as well, since they wouldn't have a dashboard, speakers, seat covers, and, oh, the most important thing, their tires. Not to mention shampoo, toothbrushes, toothpaste, and aspirin, and also a lot of clothes. Your socks, your shoes. Yes, you should know that 20% of oil is used to make these things. It is funny when you think about these things, isn't it? The main users of oil also include factories, farmers, and households with all their electrical products. Oil provides individuals with the equivalent of 100 other people working for them. Yes, 100. A 160-liter barrel of oil is the same as the work of 3,000 people. Can you imagine that? And then there's transportation. And that's the main consumer of oil. Just think. Today, we travel 100 times more than we did 50 years ago. A jumbo jet uses 1,500 liters of fuel an hour, as much as 1,000 cars. Today, there are nearly 1 billion cars worldwide. And there'll be twice as many in just a few decades. So many more cars, consuming more, and so polluting more. This is serious. Listen, let me give you another example. A stem of asparagus from Chile has an energy value for us of 1 calorie, yet 100 to get it here. Can you imagine? Worse still, a lettuce sent from the United States to England needs 127 calories for a nutritional value of 1 calorie. Is that right? Is that really reasonable? And are we among the quarter of the world's population that consumes 3/4 of its energy? Is that reasonable? In 100 years, humanity has exhausted what nature took hundreds of millions of years to create. Does that surprise you? Listen. It's as if we'd used what the Earth had made since Cro-Magnon times in a single day. What's more, this frantic use of non-renewable energy sources has led to the emission of harmful gases and global warming. So that's why we can't carry on like this.
But today, cars can run on gas and electricity.
And on biofuels, yes, there's been progress, but with limits. Biofuels cost a lot. And all the farmland in the world wouldn't be enough to satisfy our needs, and it won't solve our pollution problems. We could maybe use rapeseed, but we've still got the problem with space. Little electric cars could be useful in towns because of their limited range. And then there's gas, biogas especially, extracted from reprocessed waste. Why not? Those possibilities should be explored. And many manufacturers are doing that. So we need a little more patience.
They say that hydrogen's the fuel of the future. What do you think, Maestro?
Certainly. Hydrogen is a component of water. And so, in plentiful supply on our planet.
It produces 3 times more energy than gasoline, with much less pollution.
It's funny, but Jules Verne actually said in his book, The Mysterious Island.
Yes, my friends. The hydrogen and oxygen that make up water will one day provide an inexhaustible source of heat and light. This will be the coal of the future.
He was right. In 1873, we used a tremendous amount of coal.
But here again, there are different opinions. Let's listen to a few of them.
This new fuel of the future promises to create millions of new jobs.
It is unlimited and non-polluting. It's a good idea, but producing it will cause carbon gases and consume more energy than we obtain.
With the ongoing development of wind turbines and photovoltaic panels, energy production will become cheaper and cleaner.
In any case, our dependence on oil is about to be revolutionized. Hydrogen fuel cell development is advancing.
Yeah, but when will they be ready and at what cost?
Well, the U.S. State Department has advanced $3 billion to develop and promote hydrogen fuel cells.
And as production increases, hydrogen will become cheaper than increasingly rare gasoline.
So then, Maestro, what do you think?
Well, all of them are right. Think about it. An energy source for everything. Transportation, providing electricity, all of it. Inexhaustible, non-polluting, and cheap. It's a dream. First of all, man used wood as his energy source. 2 centuries ago, coal replaced wood. A little later, oil replaced coal. One day, hydrogen will probably replace oil as it runs out. But there are still storage and transportation problems to be solved. What's more, it has to be extracted from water, which requires an incredible amount of energy. But it's a real possibility, and many nations are working on it. We'll get there one day. In the meantime, we'll just have to be more economical. So to get around, we'll have to be happy using hybrid energy cars like this one, running on gasoline and electricity, or this one using propane and gasoline. Or maybe this one, which looks a bit funny. It runs on wind and solar energy. Its roof is a photovoltaic panel, and its antenna can convert into a wind turbine when it stops to provide extra power. Oh, I've spent far too much time talking. I'm going to show you all this.
There isn't room for everyone in there.
You're quite right. I completely forgot.
Oh!
Climb aboard now.
He's a wizard. I knew it. A wizard.
Now, let's see. To travel around and to avoid pollution, we'll need the same energy as that little car we saw.
A wizard. Yeah, a real wizard.
Good, that's it. We can take off now. Oh, look down there. Oh. These floats turn the movement of the waves into energy. Do you know why we don't do it on a large scale?
I thought that scientists were working on it, Maestro.
Yeah, in Portugal and in Scotland.
There are too few resources and not enough conviction with the whole project. When I think of the immense potential it offers... Anyway, let's look at something else. Iceland uses geothermics as an energy source. Most of its inhabitants get heat from underground sources. Other nations are starting to see the possibilities.
Even the Romans used it for their bathing.
They say that thousands of years ago, macaques managed to survive glacial stages because of the natural heat.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I can just see you.
Now, I want to talk to you about the natural energies that are so close to my heart, namely water, wind, and solar energy.
Oh, look over there! That mill is so cute!
Ah, yes, the mills. I'd almost forgotten. Yes, it's true. It's very pretty.
Yeah, pretty. Oh, very pretty.
Equipped with a wheel, it could supply the entire surrounding district with power. And there are thousands like that all over the world.
Maestro wants to take us back to the days of horses and carts.
Well, whether we like it or not, we have to get back closer to nature and its sources of energy. Here's an example of one such source of energy, the Rosalind Dam. It's very handsome, despite its 800-meter length, don't you think? The great advantage of these dams is that they supply energy that is clean, cheap, and unlimited.
Well then, Maestro, why don't we build more of them?
Because we've reached saturation point, Petra, my dear. There are already hundreds of them across Europe and thousands around the world. We've exploited that resource as much as we can.
Not in poor or developing nations. They need energy to continue with development too, don't they?
In Africa, South America, and China, they have plenty of space, don't they?
In India, they want to build 100 of them. 100! And you're forgetting what Julie saw at the Three Gorges in China.
But apart from the human dimension and the millions of people driven from their homes, there are also the ecological effects of these colossal projects that ride roughshod over nature. The destruction of ecosystems with their rare plants and animals, the reduced quality of farmland, erosion, and the risk of sediments accumulating rather than enriching fields. The risks posed by these enormous reservoirs, this one will be the length of England. Can you imagine how much water that is? Millions of tons. And when you treat nature with contempt, it hits back.
So does that mean that we shouldn't build any more dams?
Of course we can construct more, as long as they don't harm people's lives or the environment. They can still be useful in the right locations, satisfying local requirements and ridding us of those enormous, ugly, expensive high-voltage pylons. Let's look at another of my favorite energies, that of the wind.
Yeah, there were already feluccas on the Nile, some 4,000 years ago.
And then there were the Viking longboats,
That's right. Yes, about 1,000 years ago.
And the ships that discovered the world, carrying Christopher Columbus and all the others.
Absolutely. For many centuries, wind energy was humanity's only means of propulsion. But it enabled us to explore the world and fight sea battles too, as usual. But I was referring to another way of harnessing wind power. That's turbines. This is a clean, efficient energy. We have to develop it on a larger scale here.
So why haven't we done that already?
In some countries, they set up 5 wind turbines and there's a celebration. In other countries, with thousands of wind turbines, they produce enough electricity to supply millions of people. This technology is spreading throughout Europe, Spain, Denmark, Germany, and France. Lots of projects are in development. Wherever it's located, a good wind turbine reduces emissions of carbon dioxide or other polluting gases by 2,000 tons a year.
So why are certain people still opposed to them?
Because they are fools. For instance, a few years ago, there were plans to set up 5 wind turbines in a coastal area. Different associations launched campaigns to stop the project. Just listen.
These wind turbines will totally ruin the scenery.
And they'll stop our boats from entering the port.
They'll make far too much noise. We don't want them here.
And they'll scare off the game.
They'll chop up all the birds flying by. And the bats flying past.
And affect the rats and the spiders? Must our children or our children's children be reduced to living in darkness without electricity before these people listen to reason? Maybe we'll have to go back to living in caves.
But Maestro, didn't you tell us that you need loads of space for these turbines?
And that they're really noisy.
Of course, we don't have the vast open spaces that they have in the United States where they put up millions. The deserts of California, Texas, and other places have been transformed. But Germany, which has a relatively small coastline, has become one of the world's main wind energy producers. It's built up a really flourishing industry, providing many jobs. In France, we have 3,200 kilometers of coastline, mostly with strong winds. So why aren't we building the wind farms we so badly need out at sea where they won't be a nuisance to anyone? We still have to look at the last, most powerful source of energy, that which comes from the sun. Every day, it sends us 10 to 15,000 times as much energy as we need. All we use in a year every hour. So what does everyone do? Nothing, or almost.
Why's that then, Maestro?
Because it's expensive, because of inertia, and nuclear energy's more convenient.
So isn't solar energy convenient?
And just how do we use this solar energy?
2 main methods. We can tap its heat directly or use solar panels.
Isn't that the same thing, Maestro?
This is a parabolic mirror. It traps and intensifies heat received from the sun and passes it onto this tube. Heated up to 400 degrees, the tube takes the heat to this tank and then to this turbine, which turns it into energy carried by these pylons. We can also cover roofs with flat collectors, like this, or that, to produce the electricity and heating we need. Photovoltaic cells are different. These silicon panels can convert solar radiation directly into energy. Oh, when I think of all the things we could do with that. The simplest would be to supply light in places that don't have power, even in the remotest, most hostile locations. But I can also imagine much bigger solar panel installations.
But Maestro, we don't have endless room. To keep the world economy running, we'd have to cover 2,200,000 square kilometers. We don't have enough spare land.
Indeed, but there are other possibilities. Space. It's vast, it's limitless. That's where we have to collect our solar energy using small and medium-sized panels, or larger ones like this sun tower, or this belt of geostationary solar panels 36,000 kilometers from Earth. My dream.
But that would be so expensive.
A source of unlimited energy lasting for centuries will be much cheaper than finding another planet to live on. I think we've covered the possible sources of energy. So now I'd like to hear your opinions about what we have discussed.
Well, when there isn't enough energy, we'll get along without it.
No, we won't get along without it. It's absolutely essential.
For world development and to combat hunger, poverty, and and the cold.
We'll have to consume less and always save energy and start working from home in our own houses.
Indeed. Our homes use 40% of our energy consumption. New buildings must be better constructed and made to comply with evolving regulations. New building techniques have been perfected. Maybe I should take a look at my house, too.
Yeah, we need the public authorities to help, encourage, and participate in these initiatives.
Then there's cars. We should drive less and more slowly. 15 kilometers an hour slower on the highway means 15% less fuel used.
More economical engines. Not driving alone, carpooling.
And cars that look great.
It's funny. Everything you say is also printed up in here. But on the following pages, look, there are loads of ads for big cars, SUVs and all that. Why's that?
People should live much closer to where they actually work. Or work from their home more, like they do in many countries via computer, for example.
Use the bus and trains rather than airplanes that use so much fuel, or go by ship.
And force industries, authorities, and some farmers to make the same energy savings as individuals in their buildings and with their transport. You see, Maestro?
Teach countries that are going to have huge energy needs, such as China and India or others, to best make use of scarce energy.
Yeah, but to do that, we should really lead by example.
We must tax fossil energy polluting and the polluters. And we can use that money to fund research into new energies.
All the industrialized nations are working on these issues, and together we will all find the answers.
Yeah! In Australia, they're even talking about building a tower 1,000 meters tall to collect solar energy.
1,000 meters? 3 Eiffel Towers? Are those guys crazy?
While waiting for these answers, we have to drive less extravagantly and organize our homes, industries, and farms differently. It's not as if we're going back to the Stone Age, is it? Well, not yet.